So hello, everyone, and welcome to the November 22nd, 2023 regular council meeting of the Village of Lytton. I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to please turn off their videos, mute their microphones, and to allow council to begin the proceedings. Just to let you know, we are all being recorded and broadcasted on the Village of Lytton YouTube channel. If anyone is looking for a video recording of this meeting or a past meeting, you can go to the Village YouTube channel and watch it there. Thank you, Your Worship. You may call the meeting to order.
Parish Hall is muted.
Yeah.
I knew that. Thank you very much. I asked these ladies to remind me and they didn't. So. Sorry, Mike. I call this meeting to order. So the Village of Lytton acknowledges that we are meeting on the traditional unceded territory of the Nlaka'pamux people, and that we are committed to working with our First Nation neighbors on whose lands we reside. Here at the table this evening, I have Councillor McCann and Councillor Michelle, and we have Councillor Lightfoot and Councillor Toss joining us by Zoom this evening. We also have Mike Blaschuk is here as in the capacity of Deputy Corporate Officer in accordance with our council procedure bylaw. So saying that, we will move on to the first motion, which will be to adopt this evening's agenda.
I will so move.
Thank you, Councillor McCann. A seconder?
Seconded, Toss.
Thank you. All those in favor? And carried. Now moving on to the adoption of the minutes of the November 8th meeting. And a motion?
I'll move that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on November 8th, 2023 be adopted as presented amended.
Thank you. And a seconder? Lightfoot. Councillor Lightfoot. Are there any errors or omissions? No. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Now we'll move right down to public comment, and I'm going to turn it back over to CO Storoshenko.
So the members of the public are now invited to comment on matters relating to the agenda. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function on Zoom. You can find that by clicking on reactions at the bottom of your screen and then clicking raise hand. When it's your turn, I'll read your name and we will ask you to unmute yourself. You'll get a pop-up on your screen asking you to unmute. You'll have 2 minutes to speak per speaker, and please state your name and address and the agenda item you are speaking to. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Please raise your hand now. So I have someone with LG. So I'm going to ask them to unmute.
Hi, thank you.
Hi there, who are we speaking with?
This is Lillian Gray. We own 636 Station Road. And I have a quick question regarding the agenda item 7.1.2, the building permit fees. States that you will be looking at permit applications received between September 1st and 2023 and June 30th, 2024. So I'm asking if that means that the people who applied in August 2023, which is ourselves and I believe one other person, will be omitted from this.
Yes, thank you for that question. That's something that we will consider and look at when we come to that item in the agenda. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Please use the raise hand function. And I call for a third time. If anyone else would like to speak, please use the raise hand function. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else raising their hands. Is there anyone at Parish Hall that wishes to speak?
I don't believe there is, no.
Okay, then back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 7.1 and staff reports. And I'm going to ask Diane Momberket to speak to this.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. This first item doesn't really have a report associated with it. We're just looking for a resolution for a couple of appointments for councillors to committees.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We have been talking about committees for a while now, and so I will ask for someone to make this recommended motion.
I'll make the motion that council appoint Councillor Noni McCann to the Cumsheen Heritage Committee and Councillor Jeswell Lightfoot to the Unmet Needs Committee.
Great, and I'll second that motion. All those or any questions or comments about that? And none, so all those in favor? And carried. Thank you. Now we'll move on to the building permit fee reduction program. And this is where I'll have CAO von Burkett speak, please.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. This item is before council looking for approval to implement a program to help reduce the fees that are levied against owners on their building permit applications. So back in 2022, the village passed bylaw 710, the building bylaw, and as part of that bylaw, there's a fee schedule that has a number of different fees related to applying for a building permit and plumbing inspections. And there's sort of 3 pages of possible things listed. We did double check with some neighboring communities, and it appears that the fees in that schedule they're consistent with what other communities charge. However, we thought that it might be appropriate at this time to consider a reduction in those fees for owners who are rebuilding, who are already faced with a number of additional costs, as we know, from everything from construction to, and issues with insurance and all kinds of other things. So we'd like to propose that council consider creating a program to reduce the fees by 50%. So just taking exactly what is calculated under the schedule by 50%. And offering that discount to owners. Further, the comments we just heard, potentially the date of the program needs to be adjusted a little bit. It was not intended to exclude anybody. It's intended to include everyone, actually. And we have an end date on it of June the 24th. June of 2024, trying to encourage people to apply for their building permits.
Great, thank you. Let's put the motion on the floor and then we can discuss it. So who would like to make this recommended motion? Councillor Lightfoot. You're muted, sorry, Jeswell.
Sorry about that. I move that council approve a program to reduce building permit fees for property owners rebuilding in Lytton on all properties owned in the village of Lytton on June the 30th, 2021 for all permit applications received between August 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024.
And a seconder, Councillor McCann. Are there any questions or comments?
I still want to change it even more.
Okay.
I would suggest that perhaps we say all permit applications received before June 30th, 2024.
Sure.
Right?
Mhm.
That includes everybody.
That would include everyone, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, CEO Storoshenko, you received that, understood that change?
Yeah, got that.
All right.
Okay.
So do we need a seconder for that change? Would be,
As amended?
yes.
You can just say as amended, yeah.
As amended, okay, so a seconder,
I was
as amended, you're the seconder, Councillor McCann. And is there any other comments regarding this? No? Okay, all those in favor of this amended motion?
Yep.
Aye.
Carried, thank you. All right, we'll move right on to Recovery Manager report, and we have Mike Laschuk here.
Going to speak louder and clearer and more towards the microphone. So,
There we go.
Still love that shot. So thanks, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here again and give you an update. There's been a number of activities in the village right now, and as we're starting to shift out of the recovery and shift into the rebuild portion, but we'll give you an update of where we are there. So if I could get the next slide. And we use the continual reminder that shows us where we're shifting. So we're gradually working ourselves out of the sort of the site cleanout, remediation, archaeology, and really shifting into utilities and services and housing. So you'll start to see more activities happening in all those areas, particularly utilities and services now, and preparation for people to build. So next slide. So we've been continuing to working with owners on some remaining site leveling and grading where we can. We're starting to get freeze up on some of the ground. So we're reaching our limit of what we can do there. But we have virtually every property in zone 1 through 6 complete with cap and fill and successful geotech testing. We've got work plans under development for zone 7, but there are going to be a number of individual ones, very complex properties. We're finalizing, and I'm happy to say this, finalizing the screening of archaeological material in the village. So we're down to the last few piles. A lot of them will be removed. They've been done. They'll be removed tomorrow. We have the trucks coming in because they're treated as contaminated material because of the potential. So that will be removed, and we anticipate being complete by Friday. The last piles should be complete and off the site by Friday. So that completes that stage of the sifting and work that needed to be done. We had an issue develop in one pile, two small broken pieces of what appeared to be asbestos-bearing material showed up. We ended up sort of shifting off that pile. We put asbestos protocols in place. We had the material tested. It proved to be, it was asbestos-containing material, 85% asbestos, not friable. It was probably a former pipe. Nonetheless, we're in open air condition, but abundance of caution. We had people Tyvek today, all volunteers, went in there, went through, finished off the rest of the pile. The Art Branch agreed to reduce the amount of capacity we had to sift based on this, and why add more risk. We've got the answers pretty well now. So that's been complete, and that materials now can be removed and safely be removed tomorrow as well. And it worked out well. People got training on some people do monitoring work for the village, volunteered to do this. They got good training on how to suit up and test fit and everything else. So that's practical experience they can put on their resumes and put to use in other projects. So they have hazardous material handling training today. So we're starting to make that shift to planning and preparation for the spring as we start to get our processes set in place. So we can take people from wanting to build to the building permit to how to navigate their way or pathfinder their way through one of the most difficult building sites we have in the province now. So that's going to be our focus. So the next slide. So as you can see, largely where we are right now, zone 1 to 6 are largely complete in yellow. 2 areas that were sort of work plans under development and likely are going to end up being paused. We're going to try and get one or two more in if we can, but sort of everywhere sort of north of 6 still has to be done, and up the old Island Highway has to be done still up there. But we're doing our clearing and grubbing so we can get that done now, so that when we get sort of the spring, we're ready to go with the first opportunity, we can go with it. We're not having to go back and do anything else other than sort of a place fill on those ones. So you can see this picture from about a week and a half ago, where we've had a lot of material all over the roads. So this has been tricky to manage because we've had material on 6, material on 7, and we had material on station. But we have to allow vehicles to move because CP Rail was working on a project at the top. TELUS was working on a project at the top. We were doing our work as well. So it was a busy place. So from a safety point of view, we were careful to manage it, but there was a lot of sort of traffic control and shifting stuff around and making that work. Yeah, so right now we're working on sort of utilities and services. So again, addressing leaks and temporary repairs. People would have seen on First Street some work going on there. Public Works section, under Brian is working on doing some major repairs to water systems there. Interesting enough, when it was started to open up, what came up was a whole series of railway ties, which no one expected to see. So we pull the railway ties up and there's some culverts and connections. So that was, and part of that was a glass bleach bottle stamped 1952 that was used for sterilizing the equipment when the material was down there. So a pretty good clue, but 1952 was the last time we were down there in that area. So,
Wow.
and the 1960 bottle, another type of bottle showed up. So time frame was probably about right. Okay, so that will continue working. That'll probably be a few more weeks in there. So you'll see a lot of safety protocols, fencing that has to go up around there because we're opening excavations there, but it's proceeding well. But it also shows that some of our accuracy of our pipe inventory is probably not that great. Like it's where it says the pipe was going to be, it was a distance away. What it said it was going to be 6 inch, it was 4 inch. So again, we have to take that with a grain of salt. So again, continue to work with owners on preparing their sites. We're on site with an owner today, working through some of the challenges, and we'll rejig things to make certain we can get that site prepared for them to build as soon as possible. We're very eager to get everybody building. And we continue to have discussions with Pacifican on their program. And we expect more announcements coming soon. And for business commercial, we, again, supporting the backfill. Most of those properties are complete. There's been some drilling in town, doing some for commercial buildings require a little bit more geotechnical testing than we do for typical housing. So they're doing their own geotech testing, which we see as a very positive thing. We attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting, gave them Chamber of Commerce an update. And so basically that's been the main focus, is trying to help the Chamber of Commerce in any way we can. And from a recovery manager point of view, we're volunteering to help on the tourism signage that's going on. So that's my evenings and weekends to help, but it's something we do beyond, right? So
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I have.
Thank you, Mike. Are there any comments or questions?
Oh, and we had the music on Friday night. I forgot
Yes,
to
we
mention
did.
that. It's
We
part of
did.
our
We
social
did.
development. So
Great, good. Councillor Lightfoot or Councillor Toss, any questions?
Just a comment. Thank you so much to the recovery team for that event on Friday night. It was great. The music.
Okay,
Thanks.
yeah, I'm really pleased to be hearing that the pile sifting piles will be completed at the end of this week.
oh, me too.
So,
Wow, we're
yeah,
down.
That's really good news.
They're actually only working on one pile that's left now,
Yeah,
right
okay.
at the top of 7th. And it's all prepped there. They've got enough people. We're not expecting anything. And
So we should see all that dirt removed then.
you should
and out of there.
Most of
Great.
off the main streets
Yeah.
will be off tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome, great.
So trucks are in here tomorrow. You see lots of trucks, lots of loading. It takes a while between the trucks because they've got to go out to Cache Creek to dump the material and come back.
Okay.
So sometimes they'll go and then
Right.
2.5 hours later they're back. So we try to get 3 runs a day.
Yeah.
We should be able to get pretty well everything off there tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
For snow, like for winter, there should be like the street should all be clear for like snow clearing even,
Everything,
right?
everything.
Yeah,
So
that'll make it
next we'll
way
be just doing
easier.
some sweeping. Yeah, we're clean roads now.
Great.
So
Thank you. So can we have a motion, please, to receive this report for information?
I will move that council receive the recovery report dated November 22nd, 2023 for information.
And a seconder? Councillor Lightfoot? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Carried. Yes, now we'll move on to item number 8.1, which is our public bylaw, public notice bylaw, which was brought to us, and we have been through all the readings, and we're looking to adopt this bylaw this evening. And so can we please have the motion made by Councillor Lightfoot?
You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I move that council adopt public notice bylaw number 742, 2023.
And a seconder, please.
I'll second.
And if there are no comments or questions from anyone, all those in favor? And carried. Thank you. That will be great to have that in place for our next public hearings that we need to have. So we'll move right on to correspondence, and we have two pieces of correspondence. One is a letter from Susan Brown, the President and CEO of Interior Health, and a second from Minister Ravi Kalan, who's the Minister of Housing, regarding new legislation around housing initiatives. So we would like a motion to accept these two pieces of information for information.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, there you go. Councillor Toss, thank you. And a seconder.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. And all those in favor?
Can we,
I just have one question.
yeah, me too. Is it possible to?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Sorry about that. Councillor Toss.
Okay, just in terms of Bill 44 and what the Minister of Housing has put forward here, I looked up into actually the press release, which gave a bit more information on the, and we anticipate, this is part of his press release, will allow up to 4 units in a single detached and duplex zones across Canada, or sorry, across BC, and allow secondary suites or an accessory dwelling unit on single detached lots throughout BC. I thought, what would that mean to Lytton? But looking into it, it's for over 5,000 people population. And one of the other parts of that letter was updating the OCP was going to be required of municipalities. And that I think also what would be relevant to us is that no public hearings are, it sounds like allowed for rezoning applications that are consistent with the OCP. So just in terms of like understanding the implications of all that for Lytton, and perhaps maybe even if we want to look at some of that, even though it's for over 5,000 population, but perhaps allowing, in addition to a secondary suite, an like instead of an it could be an accessory dwelling, and maybe some of Ravi's recommendations could be applied to us. So I'm just wondering if we can get like a bit more information on what the implications are for Lytton from staff. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. CAO Mombercat.
Thank you. I did just want to add, we have been talking about this this new legislation, some of the changes with the planning team, and they're actually trying to filter their way through it all and summarize what it does mean for Lytton. So we will have some information to bring back, possibly even to the next meeting, on what this might mean for us. So thank you. We're on it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Councillor McCann.
So I'm going to follow that with a little bit more specific request, because I've been thinking about this. And I'm happy to hear that you're doing that, CEO Mombercat. So my request is to have in writing at this point in time that we ask staff to come back in January with a report identifying the implications for Lytton in this legislation and recommendations for what you think we might want to be paying attention to out of that legislation. Would that be okay to do that? That'd be my way I would do that.
Yeah, I see a nodding head.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Councillor Lightfoot.
I think that's valuable information to have. Although the first thing that occurred to me is the standard Lytton lot the same size as the standard Penticton or Vancouver lot? I am somewhat suspicious that our lots are smaller than average, and that may have some impact on this legislation and how it affects us. Just curious, and just throwing that out as another component that we'll probably need to hear back about.
Thank you. All right. So all those in favor of accepting this for information? And carried. All right. So that brings us now to verbal reports. I will go first. So 2 weeks ago was November the 8th. I was honored to be invited to speak briefly on behalf of the Village of Lytton at the Kumsheen Shmamit School Remembrance Day Assembly. I was very impressed with the respect shown and the acknowledgement to all of the veterans, particularly those from our community at that assembly, and actually for Remembrance Day in general. The respect was really neat to see from everyone there. A school of kindergarten to grade 12, and it was great. And then that same weekend, I attended the Remembrance Day powwow out at Stein Valley School, and I was asked to join in the grand entry. When I arrived, if you've never been to Remembrance Day powwow, part of the grand entry is carrying flags in. And I had no idea, but I was pleasantly surprised that one of the flags that was carried in was the Village of Lytton flag. And, I thought maybe all of our flags had been destroyed and we would never see one again. But it really affected me. It was a great event. People came in from all over. I don't know how many hundred were in the gym that day, but the organizers did a fantastic job and need to be commended for that. So it's been 2 weeks of many meetings, some formal, some informal. I met with Vancouver Coast Mountain to talk about tourism. Went to the Lytton District Chamber of Commerce AGM meeting. Was in Kamloops at TNRD meetings, as well as the Thompson-Nicola Regional Hospital Board meeting. And this morning I met with Red Cross. Those are just a few of the many. One of the highlights, I think, of every week is the Monday coffee with residents and community members. It really is a wonderful opportunity to share and gather information in an open, very relaxed, actually, atmosphere. If anyone on tonight's meeting hasn't been, please come, because you're more than welcome to join us. We've often had guests just show up. I see we have one of those on the meeting tonight that just showed up last Monday, which was wonderful. This afternoon, I attended the Lytton First Nation Elders Lunch, and again, the organizers of this event did such an amazing job. They mentioned, I think, that they had 350 seats set out, places set out, and I think most were filled. There was a lot of people there. I did attend the last Friday night's event, and I want to thank Mike for that, for getting that organized. That was an amazing event, along with your volunteer helpers that helps you.
Yes, and Matt Kahn.
Yes, and Matt Kahn. Yeah, that's great. And finally, I just want to say that when speaking with residents and with visitors, I'm hearing a lot of positive comments on the work that's been done over the last few months. And I want to thank not only our staff, but also the crews and the people that are out there on the ground, because I think we can't forget about them. They've been instrumental in making all of this happen.
It's a great team.
Yeah.
It is an amazing group of people to work with.
Yeah. So thank you. That's my report. And I'll move on to Councillor Toss.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. Since our last meeting on the 8th, I've been up to Lytton, and prior to that, I attended, I had a call with Jillian Roussel, which was taking questions and listening to residents on behalf of the Premier's office. I held her ear for over an hour, so I really got to convey some information that I felt was important for the Premier's office to understand from our perspective. Thought it was very worthwhile, and I appreciated them coming out to Lytton to hear from residents. I worked at Kumsheen for 2 days, which was excellent. Attended the Chamber AGM and really appreciated the presentations from Lorna Fandrick, Mike Blashak, and Jason Robertson and Jack Keogh. I learned a lot about the businesses coming back and what we can expect there. So, and congrats to the new members of the Chamber. And I did games night on the 14th, which was really fun with a couple of residents, and then the dance on the 17th, again, to reiterate Mayor O'Connor's comments. Thank you, Mike, for that, and all the other people that are a part of that, your musicians. So thank you. That's all I have to report.
Great, thank you. Councillor McCann.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I put together my notes from the last couple of weeks and I was astonished. Oh my God. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And one of the things I wanted to mention that I went to a number of sessions as well. But one thing that I was kind of involved in was that the Two Rivers Community Service Society hosted a training session at the parish hall to, I think it was around 8 people from local organizations to teach how to use the video conferencing equipment that is here. And our own Kathy Walters attended the training and on behalf of the village. And it was kind of nice to see that interest and be able to do that. I wasn't able to attend the powwow because of a family emergency that kind of drew me into a different direction. I have been able to attend the Coffee with Council sessions and have, like the mayor, quite enjoyed hearing what people have to say and having that opportunity to chat and listen. Let's see, I'm not going to read all this stuff. Oh, but Two Rivers Community Service Society is also hoping to organize several events over the holiday season. One will be lighting up the hall and the deck outside. So we'll decorate inside and outside of the hall here. We are attempting to have a photos with Santa session. And we're also hoping to organize a social event to follow this CP holiday train event. So those are some things that will happen in December through that group and through the hall here. The other thing that both Councillor Lightfoot and I attended was the FireSmart meeting. And there was a couple of things that came out of that I just want to state for the record. Of particular interest to the Village of Lytton Council. There was 3 points that came from the minutes of that meeting. One was a possible idea for the next community session in the spring to have it specifically related to landscaping, or to have a 1 or 2 day interactive session on FireSmart plants and proper plant placement around residences. So that is something that everyone would benefit from. The second point was a need to look at vegetation management down at Hobo Hollow. So that relates also specifically to the village. And there is the third point is to include a letter from the Tecumseh FireSmart Committee endorsing, supporting the landscaping proposals for the Tecumseh Health Center and for the Welcome to Lytton sign. And the Welcome to Lytton sign is also something that the Village of Lytton is looking at. So there's 3 things there that pertain directly to us that will continue to bring more information back to council and hopefully find some actions for. So that will be my report for now. Thanks.
Thank you. And Councillor Michelle?
I'm not as busy with committees and all those other.
You worked.
Busy with work.
So I don't have too much to report. I did participate in the grand entry with Mayor O'Connor at the powwow. I attended the chamber AGM and talked to a couple of residents that are in the works, talking with contractors, including myself, and realizing that contractors don't understand the archaeological any more than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we can get some more knowledge around that and have more discussion.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I've become more regular with our Monday morning coffee breaks. And as you and Councillor McCann said, it is a really great opportunity just for casual conversation. And there's a lot of valuable information and shared, and some frustrations, which give us the ability to carry that message forward to our staff. So anyone that can make those coffee breaks, I would encourage them to come. Thank you, Councillor McCann, for giving a good overview of FireSmart. And I think we all recognize its importance and will continue on. I sat in on the chamber AGM. I found that really interesting and really gave some good information, especially the information from Lorna Vandrich, I found interesting regarding the challenges that our business community is facing. And it was good to get an update from Jason regarding LFN's plans in the future. And it seemed like a really energetic group, and I'm sure that they'll be valuable contributors as we move things ahead. Also, I was part of the Zoom meeting with the Coast Mountain tourism group. Mayor O'Connor and Councillor McCann and I all had a good hour-long conversation with them, and I think they're very encouraging and looking for ways to assist us as we move things ahead. And the Rebuild Social is what I'm going to call the Friday night event. I think was a great success. We had some residents travel as far away as from Kamloops, and I hope that we can make it a more regular event. I think those at further distances find it difficult in the winter when it's dark and cold to make the trek. But if we make it a regular event, I'm sure they'll take advantage in the future again at some warmer times. Anyway, thank you for the team, and as Mayor O'Connor said, all the people on the ground that are making such good progress. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councillor Lightfoot. Well, that brings us to the end of the open meeting. It was a short agenda tonight, and even with our few interruptions, we're finished in less than 45 minutes. So thank you to everyone that's attending. We're going to be moving into closed meetings. So can I please have a motion to do so? Councillor Toss?
Yeah. So moved.
Okay, and a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor? And carried. Thank you. And I'll turn it back over to CO Storoshenko.
Thank you, Your Worship. That concludes the public portion of the regular council meeting of November 22nd, 2023. For members of the public, thank you for attending this evening and have a wonderful evening. We ask that you please leave now.